Welcome back to Usapang Bayan. Kasama pa rin po natin si Stratbase President Mr. Dindo Manhit. Pinag-uusapan pa rin po natin ang tax reform program ng Duterte administration. Sir, in a forum, Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno admitted that the tax reform bill being proposed may injure cooperatives dahil nga po mawawalan sila ng tax exemption. What's your view on this?
I think on the case of cooperatives, in the final version that came out of the House, they got exempted. Oo. So that just like the senior citizen, I think they felt that there might be this backfire really sa mga tao. Ito lalo na yung premise initially by Department of Finance was these are rich cooperatives. But you know, the whole idea of cooperatives it's meant to be shared to the members. So at least they were able to remove that in the bill.
On a more positive note, sir, the DOF claims naman that this train bill will fund the Duterte administration's Build program.
There, I totally agree. That's a positive step. We need infrastructure. The question is, then let's call this not tax reform. Let's call it a new taxes to build, or to invest in infrastructure, which we needed. But one question that I raised is, how come the previous government had an infrastructure program? Maybe the failure or the lack of success was not based on lack of funding, but really more of it took some time for them to execute it because they operated on the premise that there is possible an option, which is public-private partnership. So how come in this government, it's all about government funding? A good mix or a hybrid would be good. Some PPP, some government-driven, some may be ODA para long-term. But to tell us that we need all these new revenues now to have this very aggressive infrastructure, imagine, where will this infrastructure, a lot of this infrastructure be? In the mega Manila area. But the taxes is for? Everybody nationally. I mean, those are things that, so if I'm somebody from North Luzon who will not benefit from some of this infrastructure, I would say,
Why?
why? Why me? So, kaya ako naniniwala ko na maybe in a good mix, like there's a need for such massive infrastructure build-up that will connect north and south areas of Metro Manila to connect to the two regions of Central Luzon, Southern Tagalog. There was a good model for that, PPP. And there are interested parties from the private sector, not only local but even foreign. So why suddenly we're into the first year of this government, we're not talking about PPP? Then we talk about China will help us. Thank you, sir, ma'am. So if China will help us, why do we need this kind of funding? So there's a certain disconnect that I'm seeing. But as I've said, if we really needed it, then let the government be honest to tell us, we need these taxes, this is what we want to achieve, we need these taxes. But stop telling the people that these are ways to uplift your life.
To help you.
To help you. Because it will not. And of course, the other option is, they say, it will help them indirectly because we might have some subsidies. But it's not written in the law. These are subsidies that will come later on. Is government credible in saying, we'll tax you today, and I promise you maybe next year we'll be ready for some subsidies?
I've heard some comments that this tax reform program has little effort in terms of expanding the tax base.
On the administration side.
Can you expound a little bit on that?
I think it's a reality that the greatest challenge of raising revenue, especially on expanding the base, is really targeting efficiency and effectiveness in tax administration. I think from a management point of view, it's easier to raise new taxes you can easily collect than deal with reforming the Bureau of Customs or the Bureau of Internal Revenue and to gain more taxes. So this is the easier way out. Again, as I've said, but this is a government. I could have expected that from a different form of government. But you come into power 2016 telling us that change has come, di ba? Pagbabago na. Sabi ng ating Pangulo. So, pero balik pa rin tayo sa buwis at buwis na naman. And I remember this in 2004. I was still in the academia at the time. And I gave this comment. I said, Didn't I remember Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo saying how good his presidency is? Then the year after, or even 6 months after, she imposed VAT. Then here comes a government who did not, but at least Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, she basically covered up for a fiscal crisis that she was trying to keep because she was running for office. But in this case, they inherited a strong economy. So they inherited a strong economy. The idea is maybe they want to be more aggressive. I agree, sir, ma'am. But to be more aggressive and to say that we need this to fund all these things, I think we're not being truthful to the Filipino people. That if we really want this, then let's have all options and not only taxes. As I've said, no mention of PPP, no mention of improvement in tax administration. It's a quiet line that we will improve it. But the bottom line is, it's a government that continues to be popular after 1 year, that continues to be perceived by nearly 78% of our population as somebody that cares for them, and suddenly you impose taxes. You impose taxes on them on the most basic of things that they will do. I wake up, I drink coffee. I go to work, I take public transportation, or I take my car. Then I travel, then maybe when I turn on the lights, power plants charge more Meralco, then we blame Meralco. Without realizing it's the gasoline and the taxes that came with it. Then I am in my work, I want to take a snack. What happened to my Coke or my 3-in-1, my Pepsi, my Sesto, all those things. And suddenly we tax these things. And the funny thing, even with a sweetened beverage, they call it healthy tax. So they don't like to call it tax. I've done that again. I find interesting because if it's a health issue, is obesity a problem in the Philippines? I don't think so. When I see myself, I find myself obese maybe, but I don't think I'm reflective of the general population. Then let's deal with, if it's really a health tax, then it's about taxes that goes to address malnutrition. But don't call sugar tax as a health tax because we want people to drink less. Because at the end of the day, it's about raising 47 billion pesos that you'd like to take from these drinks that are basic. I call it happiness of Filipinos. I'm not a heavy drinker of soft drinks, but I don't know. I've visited houses. The first thing they offer you is not water, Coke, or coffee. So all those things. And suddenly, you make that expensive because you want to raise taxes so we can build better trains. Then you take the trains also. Then you take the tollway also. You pay for it kasi hindi man siya libre. So those are things that I believe there's a disconnect.
It's a domino effect din kasi, sir.
Yeah.
The government claims, sir, that this policy will benefit the middle class and will only have a backlash on the ultra-rich. So you don't agree with that?
When there are indirect taxes that taxes everyone, then let's tax the ultra-rich only. But when you tax petroleum, when you tax sweetened beverages, I remember again 2004 because those were the biggest taxes. When they expanded the VAT, I've always argued that I heard that line, it will tax the rich only. Not really, because in the end, it will always be passed on to the consumer. When it's passed on to the consumer, imagine again, I'm so happy with my 20,000 salary now, 240,000 a year salary. I don't have taxes. Thank you, sir. I'll take it home, but my savings of every 2,000, 3,000 every year now goes to higher cost of some of my basic things. So I believe how can you say that it is for the ultra? For the ultra rich, 2,000, 3,000 will not be felt. But for the poor person, that's why I've said it might be being computed by economists, experts who don't put a human face on the figures.
No, but even from a practical standpoint, the percentage of rich people in the Philippines is, I believe, quite small, no? And I would think that, let's say, their consumption of sugary products would be not multiples of that of the general population,
Yes.
because you cannot drink, let's say, 10 bottles of Coke a day, or drink 10 packs of Zesto.
Yeah. Sesto is a good example. I would say any wake that you go to, there's a sesto. Diba? And it's a life of poor people. Even the snacks of our tag natin baon, di ba? Sa
Mga
eskwelahan.
estudyante.
Oh, estudyante. And suddenly you tax that. And you say, oh, because that's unhealthy, we prefer you not to
Drink.
that. So we will drink now natural oranges,
ang mahal
which
nun.
is more expensive. Those are, as I've said, you have to put that into proper context. But I will not be critical about it if they come out in TV and tell us, we are the Philippine Congress and we want to tax you. Just let's stop calling it tax reform.
Does Stratbase have any studies on what is actually being lost in terms of improper tax administration or not being able to expand the tax base?
We don't have specific studies. What we have is we monitor third-party studies to say that there would be a lot of improvement in terms of, like, we have been an advocate of corruption. At the end of the day, the leakage in terms of taxes from corruption in the Bureau of Customs, under declaration, or even tax administration. No? Na what we were not just happy with was the previous government focused on shame campaign instead of collecting better taxes, which is not also good. No? Then we have the value-added tax. How much have we really collected from it? It's there since 2004. That's a burden to all of us, be rich, poor, middle class. Then maybe we can strengthen that component only, but to add more taxes. I fear that at the end of the day, I used to tell my class in governance, sa middle class, upper middle class, lalo na sa mayaman, baka nabawasan is the vacation. Diba? Pero sa mahirap, ang nabawasan doon may magda-drop out. Yun ang hindi ko maintindihan ba hindi naiintindihan ng mga nagpapatupad o gusto magpatupad ng bagong buwis. No? Yun ang imbigat nito sa taong bayan.
Sir, mabalik po tayo din sa sweet and beverage because of course, meron po tayong mga MSMEs. Ito po yung mga may-ari ng sari-sari stores na nagtitinda ng mga soft drinks, mga zesto.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's a domino effect. That's an example of you are not only affecting the company that you would like to tax, but the small entrepreneurs, and we know who the owners of sari-sari stores are. Diba? Generally, these are housewives who saw this as a way to increase the income of their family. And you can just imagine, these are investments na hindi financed. Talaga, what comes in is what they buy and put there. And suddenly, you're right. I never thought of that. The effect on those people. And that's part of our life. Every community has this sari-sari store.
Sir, marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan tungkol sa tax reform program pero magbabalik po ang Usapang Bayan. Please stay tuned. Magkakaroon lang po tayo ng short break.